Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Help for the Guiltless. My name, of course, is Antoine, and did I enjoy my break? I'm glad you asked. I did. But I'm back, and I came back to a bevy of things to talk about. I mean, we could talk about everyday feminism, no platforming Lacey Green, or we could talk about Kathy Griffin and what she did with the severed Trump head. But more importantly, we're going to talk about, well, the cinema, believe it or not, and more specifically, the Alamo Draft House. Now, I could talk about Trump pulling out of Paris, but I don't think anyone has ever really pulled out of Paris. She kind of just takes whatever they give her. And that aside, it's not for me to talk about because I don't really know anything about it. So we're going to talk about Wonder Woman. Not necessarily the film itself, just the things around it. For all intents and purposes, Wonder Woman has been hailed as a success. All the reviews I have seen and read all give it high marks, being up into the 8s out of 10 and things of that nature, which I am grateful for because that means we'll get more like that. Hopefully DC won't fuck it up in Justice League. So, let's talk about the Alamo Draft House and their woman's only showing. Now, there are three particular arguments for this women's only showing and how it really has no impact on anything because it's only a couple of showings. So I'm going to go over each argument and kind of give my opinion on each one, more or less the legalities of them. Now, this started off with women's only, no penises allowed, and then the trans community kind of went, well, what about women who have penises? That's not fair. And the Alamo Draft House kind of recoiled back and said, no. Men who identify as women can join the festivities. And unfortunately, that's where it gets kind of muddled, because what that means is I could go in with my 5 o'clock shadow to one of the Alamo Draft Houses that was showing the women's only showing and saying, look, I identify as a woman, here's my ticket, I'm going inside. And they can't really do anything, and then once inside, I can be my normal self. When you play gender politics, everyone loses. The first argument is one of the most common, I guess you would say. And like I said, there are three, and then there's one more that's really fun to talk about because of how stupid it is. So the first argument goes something like this. Any bar rat knows 2 specific words. It's called Ladies' Night. It's the same exact thing. Except it's not. You see, Ladies' Night is a marketing ploy. What differs from what Alamo Draft House is doing compared to a marketing ploy of Ladies' Night is quite striking, believe it or not. In essence, what Ladies' Night is a coupon. You see, bars and clubs understand that if you entice women to come with half-price drinks and discounts, the men will inevitably be there. And that's the major difference. This women's only showing is not allowing men. Ladies' nights, on the other hand, bars and clubs encourage men to show. And men enjoy them because they get to pay for discounted drinks for the sluts they are trying to sleep with. they look at it as a discount for them, not the women. And honestly, it's kind of what it is. The way you can get away with that is because it is a coupon. Not everyone goes into Michael's Arts and Crafts with a coupon, and when they do go in without a coupon, they're shit out of luck. It's the same concept. And, as I stated before, men are still allowed in, if not encouraged. So that's why Ladies' Night doesn't work. Now, the second argument is a little bit more concise. It tries to create a connection and a correlation between the two things that there is none. And they're talking about, well, what about places like Curves? Or I had someone bring up lodge meetings like Mena from in the fucking Flintstones or something. The difference is private event, public event. For Curves, which is a woman's only gym, woman exclusive gym, you have to pay a monthly fee. Now, I know when you go to these fancy pants theaters, most of them have a ticket club or something like that where you can get points to get free popcorn. You're not paying for that. Your $25 ticket and your overpriced stale popcorn and soda that you could swim home in does not pay for exclusivity. You're paying for an experience. Lodge meetings and Curves are paid by monthly dues, which means you have an exclusive right to those dues, to that purchase, to the equipment or whatever is being used. That's how they can get away with doing exclusivity. They start out by saying, this is a woman's only gym. No men allowed. And for that right and privilege to have a women's only gym, you have to pay so much. And once you pay that each month, you can use our equipment exclusively without worrying about penis. Same goes for lodge meetings or men's clubs. The Alamo Draft House was not and is not an exclusive club or an exclusive theater or an exclusive gym. They are a private business, yes, which means that they can sell tickets to whomever they want. But they are a public venue, and the event that is being held is a public event. Private, you're basically hosting a party. You can buy out the theater and give all the seats to whoever you want. Public, which they're offering, was anyone can buy a ticket, but for these showings it's women only. Now, you can still buy a ticket for these if you have a penis and identify as a man, but it better be for your girlfriend, your daughter, your mother, or anyone who has a vagina. That is the problem, and that's why it becomes a discrimination issue. Now, I know everyone is up in arms about this. Men can't be discriminated against. They're the oppressors and all that claptrap and bullshit. It's not true. These discrimination laws were created to stop things like this from happening. And this goes into the third argument. The third argument is, just let the women have their thing. Men have their things, let the women have this. Everyone's done it from time began. Here's the inherent problem with it. We have exclusive boys clubs called the Boy Scouts, but women and girls are now advocating for allowing women and girls into Boy Scouts. There aren't many men's activities left. So why not just let the women have it? I'm not going to say it's a slippery slope, because it's not. It's a sheer fucking cliff with plateaus about 100 feet down each time for you to slam up against when you fall, to continue rolling off of and slam into the next one. You don't believe me? Alright, here. Let's replace one word. We'll replace women with men. It's a men's only showing. A men's only showing of Wonder Woman. Imagine the outrage. Imagine the headlines. Misogynistic, sexist, bigoted men ogle feminist icon Wonder Woman in private theatre showings. Perverted, horny, sexist men return Wonder Woman back to porn theatres of old. If you don't think those headlines were anything close to what would be written, you're naive. On top of that, Wonder Woman was actually created as a outlet for the creator's bondage fantasies. Read some of the old Wonder Woman comics. She is continually tied up in bondage poses over and over and over again. But that's aside from the point. If thinking about a men's only showing upset you, we'll go one better in this little thought experiment. What about a whites only showing? Oh, I know, one of the responses to that is, look, it's just a movie. You can go see somewhere else. Okay. We'll take that logic. Alright? We'll take it. Why do you have to sit at the front of the bus? There are perfectly good seats in the back. Why do you have to use this water fountain when that one over there is specifically for you? Why do you have to come into this diner when you can go to the one down the street? Sound familiar? Getting a little uncomfortable about it because you know exactly what I'm talking about and why I'm talking about it. It's discrimination. But because it's discrimination against men, no one really gives a shit. And when someone actually says something about it, we get into the fourth and most entertaining argument. I've already talked about 3, let's talk about the final one. This one comes from male feminist dude bro allies, which, believe it or not, that is the funniest and most ironic fucking sentence I have ever said. Dude bro feminist allies. And what they say is, all of these whiny, small-dicked men having an issue and being intimidated by women having their own showing. Okay, dude bro, let's take your logic and play it through. We have a men's only showing of Wonder Woman. The outrage is the same. Why do men get this? We get the headlines of sexist men ogling the feminist icon. Well, why are all these whiny, bitchy, sand-filled vaginas having an issue with us having our own showing? Can't they just let us have our own thing? They had their own thing. This is my problem with double standards. They don't work, ever. Do as I say, not as I do, or act as I say, not as I act, helps no one. If anything, in the last couple arguments I said where I gave examples of a blacks only showing, or a whites only showing, or a cisgendered only showing of Wonder Woman, if any of that upset you, but the woman's only showing didn't, you're a hypocrite. A public venue that sells publicly available tickets to anyone who has got the money to buy them cannot then turn around and dictate who can and cannot use the product that they purchased. In this case, a piece of paper that allows you to see a film that was created for comic book nerds. And if you dictate that in this public venue that half of the population is not allowed, that is discrimination. Plain and simple. Any way you look at it. And that's why these laws were enacted, to stop things like this. I'm not saying that this is going to get out of hand and we're going to have segregation in all theaters all over again. But what it is preaching is exclusivity. Not equality, not inclusion. Exclusion and privilege. Think about that before you start bitching about men upset that they can't see a film with their loved ones who are excited about seeing it with them. If I was a patron of Alamo Draft House and this happened, or when this happened, I would no longer be a patron. This is not something that is good. Now, Alamo Draft House made a statement that they do this for military and veterans all of the time. And that's fine, because they still allow men and women to enter together. And it is an event that they privately espouse, not publicly. So they can have a private showing for veterans all they want. This Wonder Woman showing was not private, this was public. And that's the big takeaway. But I'd like to know what you have to say. Am I off my rocker? Or do I make some form of sense? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked what I had to say, and you like what I do here, hit like, share, and subscribe. This has been Help for the Guildless. Once again, my name is Antoine. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow me on Facebook and all of on the Help for the Guildless Facebook page, and all of the other links to our sister channel are down below. Thank you for listening once again, and have a wonderful evening.